Okay, people, I don't know what I'm looking at, but do you see that? I'm trying to make this clear without picking up the pixels on the screen. This is Doug Ford's eyes. Okay. I'm just zooming in on him right now. I mean, you can clearly see that. I don't know how that looks like any sort of pupil. I don't. I don't, people. I don't. Now, mind you, I'll show you the picture that I got it from. I'm still zooming in, but do you see this? Where am I? Zoom in. And let's do it again. I'll show you. We'll open up a new one. Just hold on. There it is right there. Just something I did paint on. I need to do new. Hold on a minute. Okay, I'm back. So this is the picture. I was just enhancing it with zoom. Now, I can crop it. Or better yet, we can enlarge it. How do I do that? Oh, see, stress, I'm forgetting. Hold on a minute. Okay, so I'm going to do this a few times, people, because this is, I don't know what this is. Okay, so I cropped it. You can see there's his face. There's resize. Versus zooming, I am going to resize, okay? We've done this before. Oh, wait, what's this? This is different. Oh, hold on a minute. Okay. I know what I did. I worked with two different programs here. I just resized it again, people. Does that look normal to you? Does it? Now, obviously, I am going to have to, what do you call it? Have comparison pictures on this. I mean, I think I just got lucky. Okay. Obviously, this man has light brown, what is it called? Irises, right? But there's definitely something wrong with his pupils. You can sort of see the pupil here around the iris. Remember I told you it's a lot whiter in this corner? This eye is more of a sleepy eye. Oops, sorry. This eye is more of a sleepy eye. Right? That, I'm assuming, is his pupil. And then, of course, there's the iris. And here's the white of his eye. Right? Here is the white of his eye. But do you see this? How do you tell me how that looks like a pupil? It doesn't. Okay. Now, I'm using paint, right? Took that little crop picture, and I've resized it through paint 800 times. And this is what we're looking at now. I'll pull it back so we don't see too many pixels. Okay, that's his right eye, the sleepy eye. And now we're going to go into his left eye. That's the right eye. He's obviously getting some lighting. It could be just shadowing from the news reporters, and that's how his pupil reacts to it. Hold on. Okay, so I am just going to now do another random picture. Okay, what I do is I put this in paint. Hold on. Okay, now we're going to resize it. We'll just use paint. We'll go by 400. Okay, this is all random. Sorry. All random, people. This one's not so clear. All right. So I have to go maybe and get a different one. This picture is blurry. It's working. Oh boy, oh boy. Where is it? Hold on. Okay, you can see what I'm doing here. I'm cropping it. Right, got a different picture. This is what we're looking at now. Alright, and then we're going to resize it. This is a different program. Or maybe we'll crop it again. Maybe just crop it again. We're just looking. So here you can see it. You can see the pupil here. This one's picking up something. Do you see that? So now we got that. This is a different picture. Right. I'm going to crop it again. And this is what we get now. What would happen if we crop just the eye? Nothing but the eye. Obviously, it's reflecting light. But you don't really see much of a pupil there. Not really. Okay, different picture, same video. I'm not going to do by 400. I'm going to do by 2. I'm just resizing it here, people. That's what I'm doing. Okay, I zoomed that in just another 200, right? Now, you have to remember, people, all this stuff that we're watching is all scripted. It's staged, right? You never see the news reporters. You don't see how they got their lightings hooked up. You don't see where they're sitting. You just see these guys coming up to podiums and taking their turn to talk. Obviously, we're looking at some kind of lighting, okay? That's reflecting off of the iris and the pupil. However, I just want you to note how uniform it's like this with the lighter shadowing on each side. Okay? Because in this picture it's exactly the same. Okay, it's exactly the same. You've got that undershadowing underneath with the iris picking up lights up on top. But is this the pupil, people? Is this the pupil right here? Because it's not, a pupil is round. Unless, of course, it's injured, right? But you can almost say the darker line is straight versus round. Because it kind of goes down and then it just blends into here. This pupil should be round. Is this his pupil? What is, and if this round in here is his pupil, what's this up in here? But the other thing I want you to note, okay, you see this, right? I don't even know if I'm going to upload this, people. I'm kind of spooking myself out here. It's slightly different than this one because his right eye is a sleepy eye. And he blinks a lot. So he's got, obviously, eye irritation of some sort. This is Doug Ford. But here it is again. Do you see? This is supposed to represent his pupil. But his eye itself, his iris, I'm pretty sure that's what it's called, is a light brown. But for whatever reason, it's going like this, and then you get the shadowing, the white shadowing. Okay? But this isn't particularly round in any sense of the word. If anything, right, you can see it. You can see that doesn't look like a normal eye. And unless, of course, the lighting is playing tricks on us. Okay, do you see? All right. And pull back a bit. You don't really notice it. But when you go in, you know, it becomes much more clear in terms of what you're looking at. Only we don't know what we're looking at yet. Right? Okay, same video still. I just picked a random video. We're going to look at this woman's eyes. Right? Now, obviously, you can see that whatever the lighting that they have is reflecting off of the eyeball in this particular video. You can clearly see that. Hold on. Let me save this. Okay, now I've just increased it by 400. This is just at 400, people. I don't know if this is my imagination station, but I'm starting to see an it's not normal. Her iris, her pupils are not normal. Okay, I'm seeing, maybe I'm just spooking myself. Let's just increase it by another 200. We'll go 200 at a time. Okay. Now, could be trickery of the lighting, but the lighting would be used to mask what's behind the eyes. It would be to prevent you from seeing what is there, if there's anything to be seen. Where are we? Where is this person? Come on. Sometimes it's hard to find them. It expands so much, right? Oh, what the hell is this? That's not what I'm doing. What did I do? Oh my God. What did I do? Hold on, people. Okay, I found her. Now, let me just take it back. See if you can see it. Through the lighting, you're getting, do you see? Here's the white shadowing, and here's the white shadowing. And what it does to the pupil is it making it go like an X. It's not round, people. It's not round. Here it is again. All right. Her eyes are more gray. It's hard to do this. Very hard to do this. So let's crop it. Let's see what we get. You can see it. Oh my. It's hard to really isolate it. What would happen? I'm just curious. Hold on a minute. Okay, so I brought it into my Roxio to change the exposure so that you can see how the pupil is going like a cross, right? It's not round. Now we can blame it on the reflection of the lighting. Obviously, we're getting that, right? But is that really how eyes interpret lighting? I'm just going to change the like when I did with ShaMay, people, right? The iris is the iris, the pupil is the pupil. The pupil should come out rounded and black. The pupil itself is its own, has its own density, right? I don't think no matter how much, I don't think no matter how much, what is it called? I'm just moving these things around again. I don't think no matter how much lighting is on the pupil, I don't think it would change. Let me just move this back. There's nothing rounded about that. I don't even see a pupil per se. Where's the pupil? So that light, sorry, is here and here. It's interrupting the pupil. There's nothing there to suggest that there is even a pupil. But here's the light reflecting. Here's the light reflecting. Here's the light reflecting. Here's the light reflecting. The center points would be your pupil, you would think. Okay. Right. These would represent the pupil. Which is not very big. Anyway. Okay, I'm just going to move it along here. You can clearly see we're looking at an X. We're not looking at a uniformed round circle in terms of a pupil. Same thing here. It's coming in here. Now, we can say it's the lighting that's doing this to the eyeball, right? Because on defense, that's what they'll say. It's a reflection. But you can clearly see that does not look like a pupil. And I'm on exposure. So, see? Exposure. I just brightened it a little bit. Right? You can clearly see it. Do it one more time. So now we're going to try this, his last, most recent live, and we're going to look at his eyes. Not a very clear picture. Ugh, I hate that one that does that. It's all blurred in together. You can't really see nothing. However, hold on. Okay, so now I'm doing a little exposure. Now this one here looks a little more normal because, right, I've done this with ShaMay, right? So you can see how it's a little darker, right? Because that is the pupil. Just changing the exposure. Okay, you can see the pupil will do what the pupil does. Right? Because it's dense. So you're going to see it right there and right there. Now it's going to come in like that. Gotta get back to picture. That is the pupil. That is the pupil. Should be. Do you see how the pupil reacts? Now, mind you, it doesn't look like he's got lights shining into his eyes. Pupil. Pupil. I'm going to see if I can get a better picture. Okay, I'm not sure if I'm going to upload this or not, but anyway, I did another picture of that Doug Ford. Right here, you're looking at, that's the pupil. The black is the pupil. I'm in exposure. Obviously, I cropped the picture. Sorry. You can see, obviously, his pupils in this situation are somewhat dilated. Over here, we're getting a little reflection of light, right? Because he's looking in a different direction with different lighting. You can see that the eyes are pretty much reacting the same. You can see the darker within the red. You should be able to. Right? On both sides, it's pretty much equal. Changing things, right? The darker represents his pupils. Now I'm changing it. The darker represents his pupils. Now the red circle around, right, represents his pupils. Just taking it to a whole new level here. You never know what's going to pop up with this stuff. Okay, if you've watched ShaMay's videos, you would know that the black represents his pupils. Here we're in a different exposure. The white represents the darkest part, the deepest part into the eyeball in terms of, you would think, pupils. Right? Let's see if we can get back to where we were. You can't really distinguish his pupils in this video, in this particular picture. They kind of blend in with his eyes. For some reason his eyes got darker in terms of the iris. If I remember correctly, his iris is a light brown. But in this situation, but then his pupil is probably expanded, right? I'm going to have to work on this. Okay, this is another video of theirs, different angle, but you can see they use the same lighting. It's reflecting off the eye, right? You can see that. So, of course, the reflection is going to somewhat maybe change how it's reflected back to us in terms of looking at the pupil. But if you notice his iris is light. Oops, sorry. His iris is light compared to his pupil. He doesn't have very dark eyes. I'm just going to resize this one more time just to see what happens. And then, you know, before you give up, you kind of need to take it to exposure just to see how it's going to come out in terms of the shape of the pupil itself. Oh God, now we have to go hunting for him. This guy here looks like he's got problems with his eyes too. Some Punjabi man. See, this is again, it's doing the same thing again. Hold on. Okay, so I just cropped the one eye. I've already started the exposure, but it's already starting to look funky. So we're just going to auto fix. That's the eye right there. You can see the reflection, right? Okay, and we're just going to start moving things around here. Okay, you can see the iris itself is pretty circular, right? But what we want to pay attention to more than anything else is how the pupil reacts to changing the exposure. Obviously, we're getting that reflection from the light, assuming that's what that is. But for some reason, it has the ability to change the shape of the pupil, if you notice. That's unusual looking. What is that? What kind of eyeball is that? What would make an eyeball do that? Now remember, the black is supposed to be the pupil. I guess these white spots is the reflection of the light. But I don't see how it would interrupt the actual pupil itself. Because the light is just a reflection. The pupil has its own density. Oh, here we go again. The darker part is supposed to represent the pupil. The lighter parts are the reflection of the light that's somehow cutting into the pupil and drowning it out, which I find to be kind of unlikely, but then I'm just mucking around. You can clearly see what's happening here. The darker, the deeper. We're looking for the pupil. Even though we know he's got light eyes. In terms of an iris. So, that is the eye itself.
Respectful.
Okay, so it's June 25th, 2020. Now, this may be legitimate, people.
You have to do what is right for you. And
they just started a little while ago.
Makes a difference for your family.
I was outside getting herbs.
For your community. Your decisions around where you
doesn't tell you when it started.
Have an impact. We are all connected as we have
but it tells you
in ways that we probably
there's 110 watching now.
And it just as
because it is alive.
Flatten our curve and find that balance,
not everyone is
must continue to stand
re-uploaded or re-streamed.
Months ahead.
Okay.
So let's do our part by staying 100%
so we'll just
to protect
see what happens with this one.
Communities and our province. And let's do that as we have been, by being kind, be calm.
Nobody cares though.
Safe.
If you notice, right, they don't care about governments lying. Right?
Thank you very much, Dr. Henry, and I want to join Dr.
Hold
Henry
on, it's hot outside.